This is Business Now, your weekly window into the trends shaping Africa's economic future and the stories driving global business insight. In this edition, we sit down for an exclusive interview with the Managing Director of Uganda Breweries to unpack the latest trends transforming the beverage industry, plus a ground report on agriculture. We speak with the leading agronomist about the evolving use of fertilizer in Uganda and what it means for farmers and food security. All this in more than just 20 minutes. Insight, analysis, and the business pulse of West Africa and beyond. But first, before we go to business stories, your ABSA 2025 Jogger campaign is still very much in full swing with loans of up to 200, 300, and 600 million shillings. You want to buy a car, you need to start a business or invest more in your business or doing other things to meet your goals in the year 2025. Visit your ABSA branch bank anywhere in the country and meet all your goals for 2025. Let's have a look at some business stories now. Airtel has announced an agreement with SpaceX to bring Starlink's connectivity solutions to customers in Africa. We hope Uganda inclusive. Airtel Africa announced today an agreement with SpaceX to bring Starlink's high-speed internet services to its customers in Africa. Currently, SpaceX has acquired requisite licenses in 9 out of 14 countries within Airtel Africa's footprint. Its operating licenses for the other 5 countries are under the process. With this collaboration, Airtel Africa will further enhance its next-generation satellite connectivity offerings and augment connectivity for enterprises, businesses, and social economic communities like schools, health centers, in even the most rural parts of Africa. So Airtel Africa will also explore rural coverage expansion through cellular backhauling. This week, the US Federal Reserve and the Bank of England is set to announce key interest rate decisions. These announcements come amid ongoing economic uncertainty and will be closely watched by investors and markets across the world. Oil prices have plummeted to 4-year lows due to Saudi Arabia's changing strategies and weak US economic signals that's potentially affecting US production. Additionally, a new US-Ukraine partnership fund aims to develop Ukraine's energy sector and bolster US investment, although challenges persist due to regional instability. So Uganda is losing over 400 billion shillings in tax revenue due to the illicit alcohol trade, according to the industry leaders. Meanwhile, millions of Ugandans continue to risk their health by consuming substandard or, in some cases, adulterated alcohol. Uganda Breweries, one of the country's oldest and leading brewers, founded in 1946, is a subsidiary of Kenya-based East African Breweries Limited and Diageo UK. The company has invested billions in product innovation and new product lines. I sat down with the managing director, Andrew Kilonzo, who shared how his sourcing of local raw materials has enabled the breweries industry to save billions on its import bill. Where do you see going forward the economy projected to grow in there over 6%?
But as you said, coming to brewery here in Luzira at Port Bell, you see the road work that is going on, not complete, but that is really the optimism that we have, because we can see investment, we can see infrastructure development. Sometimes there's a small thing that sometimes you have to go slowly to go past. So yes, there's some small pains here and there at the moment. For us, where we are, we have had fantastic engagement with the contractors, because we are shipping, easily 80, 100 trucks a day coming from here, but we have had zero disruption. So in as much as there might be some discomfort, we are really optimistic about the future.
We are moving into the new financial year. When you look at your report card, what is the health of this sector now, having gone through a phase of recovery?
So at the sector, we are in a unique position here at Uganda Breweries, because we do local manufacture of beer, local manufacture of spirits. We import finished spirits. We are affiliated across the region. We are exporting as well. We can give you products from 2,800 shillings maybe at recommended retail price, all the way to 3 million shillings, depending on your pocket.
What is driving demand, for instance, and where are you putting your innovations for new products, for instance, to try and accommodate even much more consumers?
We have, I think, an opportunity where we are seeing the tastes are shifting. The discernment of consumers on what is this company that is supplying goods doing in the community, with, for instance, environment protection. Are we being future-proof? Are we being responsible in the way we are marketing our products? And we are seeing a lot more response. Where are my consumers coming from? I think from growing middle class to differing tastes. That's why you're seeing us innovating quite aggressively, whether it is flavored beer, whether it is stout and stout variants, whether it is spirits that are now locally manufactured here. We are manufacturing locally all our beer. All the beers that you see, some people imagine we are still importing. We don't. For the last more than 3 years plus.
What is the response from government? That I know you've had very many conversations, because one, you have invested billions in production lines. I've been at numerous launches of some of these lines, vodka, etc.
This beast is quite a challenge when you have an opportunity and you have to change course. The number of conversations that you need, and we are never going to tire of having those conversations, are numerous and at various levels, because there's various regulators who we have had conversations and they're on board. Some of these solutions have actually come as a means to addressing this issue. Now it's just where we have reached, how to get next level.
If we look at the numbers now, if you compare what percentages are you purchasing now from local farmers, and how many local farmers are you supporting this time around? Are those numbers shifting?
Absolutely. And this is something that really makes us proud as Uganda Breweries, where we are now working with 35,000 plus farmers sourcing of raw material. And the raw materials include sorghum, where we have worked with organizations like NARO in identification of the regions to grow, certifying the seeds. So we have really invested in local capacity right from the farmer, the consolidator, the handling, the milling, and then supplying it to us, because we are an industry. End of the day, we are an industry. So we have to have consolidators and partners that can give us these raw materials in formats that industry can take. And that has come in. So we have really enhanced even local capacity to handle this series. And we are very proud of that track record we have on the local raw material.
Uganda ranks amongst the lowest globally in fertilizer usage, applying just 1 kilogram of nutrients per hectare annually. Now, a stark contrast for a nation heavily reliant on agriculture. Compounding the challenge, fertilizer prices in Uganda are nearly 10 times higher than global market rates. In comparison, regional peers such as Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania report usage levels of about 32, 29, and 6 kilograms per hectare, respectively. This week on Business Now, we have an agronomist who cautions dangers ahead. First, tell us, what do fertilizers do exactly?
It is like we eat food, crops feed. Actually, we say we feed crops. So fertilizers, just look at fertilizers as food for crops, as simple as that. So if you keep removing food for the crops, where your grandfather used to produce food is where you produce, you're producing now, the yield will continue declining and declining and declining. Now there must be a plan. Farmers must have a plan for replenishment, either using cow dung manure or organic manure, or using synthetic fertilizers, these which we import. You see here in Uganda, when you look at the region, we are the least consumers of fertilizers, but again, we are the least producers of food. We produce less. So we are telling farmers that if you use the same piece of land over and over again, you are removing nutrients, you must have a plan. And when you look at cow dung, when you look at organic manure, the mineral elements that are there are low, very low. Commercial farmers, for example, if you're producing coffee on 100 acres or 50 acres, you cannot afford to use only cow dung. We are telling farmers to see how they can strike the balance. If you can get products, synthetic products, or products that are made from the industries, use. If you can get organic manure, also use.
I need you to tell me, what is it in the coffee sector? What, as an agronomist, what do you hear? What are farmers struggling with in terms of soils and fertilizer usage?
Farmers are struggling with the diseases, coffee diseases. They are struggling with the coffee insect pests. They are struggling with the low nutrients in the soil. So that's why first we are focusing on crop protection. We call it protection, and we call it coffee protection. For example, if your coffee is not diseased, or if you protect your coffee against diseases, we have 3 major important coffee diseases: coffee leaf rust, coffee berry disease, and coffee red blister. If your coffee is free of those diseases and it is free of insect pests, there is a very, very ferocious insect pest called the black coffee twig borer. If it is not affecting your coffee and you have enough fertilizers, just know you will get a good crop and get good yields.
What do you see on the ground? Is fertilizers affordable because they are largely imported? What do you see on the ground?
Some farmers are not able to buy these products, and that's why I told you that there must be a soil replenishment plan. If you cannot use these products which we import, use organic manure or cow dung, whatever you can get from your farm. It is very good, but the most important thing is we must have a plan for replenishment. I told you, if you harvest season in, season out, just know that you are taking mineral nutrients from your soil.
We continue our conversation on Uganda's huge capital flows from investors eyeing the country's growing property demand, while locals have also invested in apartment projects and condominium prices of up to $150,000 remaining so out of reach for the majority. The team lead at a local real estate agency, Cradle, spoke to us about mortgage market dynamics and what the government can do to improve housing affordability.
Most of the condominium developments now give you up to 3 years of repayment without interest. I think this has been a very good model that has helped locals to be able, it's like they've taken a loan, and some workplaces have even allowed them to pay up front and then they cut from their salaries and all. And some developers have allowed for innovations like rent to own, where Ugandan is allowed to pay 50%, enter the unit, and then pay part of rent and ownership together. So all these things have seen more Ugandans taking up. There's definitely a challenge with locals buying into these units. And the first challenge is on sensitization for condominium living. Many of the locals, unlike the internationals coming in, did not understand the concept of condominium and community living. Therefore, the uptake for condominiums for locals is still low. And it's a going concern for developers to educate the locals on why it's important and the merits of buying into a condominium community and a gated community. But we are seeing that purchases are coming in for locals who are buying into these units. And most of them are buying 1 and 2 bedroom apartments to furnish and tap onto the internationals that are coming in to rent. So they are starting to appreciate the value. But also on the other end, for the developers or the suppliers of the condominiums, the sensitization is going on by ministry and us, the real estate players, to tell the developers you need to develop for the client, not for yourself. You need to listen to what a client is looking for in a condominium. What's keeping the prices high is the cost of land in the urban areas and the cost of construction, definitely. And of course, since it's left to private ownership, they have to make money, they have to make profit off their investment. All right. So the cost of land is not cheap in terms of the modern areas that people want to stay. So as the developer is costing their unit, they factor in the cost of land, the cost of development, the cost of amenities, the cost of the whole process, and then the profit. Now, if we could have access to more affordable land and more affordable ways of construction, and of course not forgetting the cost of money and the taxes, all these added up end up putting a product on market that is very high in terms of price for a local person. We have put our input in the real estate bill, and we've tried to see how to cover these gaps in terms of regulating the prices of land, the practices of the developers, and the discipline of the consumers, to see all these efforts are being made to see if we can have an affordable market for real estate. Same applies with when you look at the companies, the tech companies that have come to partner with us in different avenues to set up technology data-driven real estate sector. Some of those will be able to cover the gaps in speculation, to cover the gaps in fraud, in land fraud, which ends up making the cost of projects higher. So we are looking at mitigating gaps that make projects higher so that we put on market projects that are more affordable.
As Uganda enters the week May 5th, 2025 today, the Uganda shilling is expected to maintain its recent stability against major currencies, particularly the US dollar. And this outlook is supported by recent data and macroeconomic indicators. Recent performance over the past week, the Uganda shilling has demonstrated minimal fluctuations against the US dollar. Last week, the exchange rate stood at approximately 3,669 per US dollar, showing negligible changes from the previous days. Analysts anticipate that the Uganda shilling will continue to trade within its current range in the coming week. Now, projections suggest that the exchange rate will hover around 3,665 per US dollar, with potential fluctuations between 3,570 and 3,665. Onto the stock market, Uganda Securities Exchange is showing modest gains amid selective trading activity. The stock market posted modest gains today, with the all-share index edging up 1,269 from 1,263, while the local companies index rose slightly to 350. Despite limited trading activity across most counters, you will see select stocks such as Bank of Baroda Uganda and Stanbic Bank Uganda seeing notable turnover, contributing to a total market turnover of 137 million across 21 deals executed. Market sentiment remains mixed, with most counters registering no price movement. In our stock market update, government bond market is quiet as yields hold steady across long-term instruments. The government securities market remains inactive today, with no new bond trades recorded despite a broad range of maturities priced. So long-term bonds continue to dominate the yield curve, with notable price levels such as the 362 for the 20-year placed in 2022 and the 252% for the 15-year fixed in 2020, reflecting strong investor appetite for the high coupon, long duration instruments. So market sentiment appears steady with stable pricing, suggesting muted secondary market activity. That was Business Now. You can join us next week, Monday, 8:30, for more insights into the fast-moving world of finance and enterprise and issues that are shaping our economy. Follow us on our socials, X and Facebook, and then on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe.